Okay. Hello, good people of Ergosbach. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Moritz Angel. When I was living in Ergosbach, my name was Moritz Angelovich. I was born in 1929, December the 2nd, in a city, Kopasnovo. That was part of Czechoslovakia, and then during the wartime, it became part of Hungary. When I was 2 years old, my mother died. When I was 6 years old, my father died. And I was raised by my older sister. Then, now what am I supposed to say now? Let me take a look. I was living with my sister, and my sister was married to a man who was in the Hungarian army, and she had a child of 2 years old. And she had a piece of paper from the Hungarian army that they shouldn't touch it, bother it. Then in 1944, a new government came in Hungary, and the Germans took over Hungary, and they started rounding up all the Jews, and they took me and my sister and their 2-year-old son to a ghetto. The name of the ghetto was the city of Hust, and then after 2 weeks, they put us on a train, thousands of people, and they took us to Auschwitz. And when we came to Auschwitz, I got separated from my sister and her little son, 2 years old, and I wound up in a block with other people, and then they came and gave us some food, haferflocken, and after about 2 weeks later, they put us in a train again, and they took us all thousands and thousands of prisoners to Buchenwald. When I came to Buchenwald, and I was taking a shower, and I was supposed to be assigned to a place to go to work in Germany, a man appeared in white clothes, and he introduced himself that he's a doctor from Vienna, and he said he was 3 years in Buchenwald, and he would try to save me. So he told me that he tried to save me. He put me took me away, and he put me in block 8, and I was there for 5 months. And 5 months later, they took me out from block 8, and they sent me to a working concentration camp to Remsdorf. In Remsdorf, I met my sister's husband, brother, and he was a capo, and he took me out from my barrack, and he took me to his barrack. And I was working there in a refinery. After 2 months, the refinery was completely bombed. And then one day, the SS took 350 sick prisoners and to transfer them to Buchenwald. And my sister's husband, brother, he was a capo. He took me to help him out with the 350 sick people to put them on the train. And when we all put them all on the train, he pushed me in to one of the wagon, and he told me it's better for me to go to Buchenwald. So when I came to Buchenwald, they put us in a building. It was no roof. It was cold, January, but beginning of January 1945, and all the prisoners got frozen to death. Only a few survived, and I survived too. Then they took me and put me in this little lager in Buchenwald. And I was there in one of the buildings. I was getting each day a piece of bread, some hot tea, and a piece of blood washed. And then, end of March of 1945, the general commander who was in charge of Buchenwald announced that in 5 days the Americans are going to come and liberate us. And he said, "Auf Wiedersehen," and he put Leo Blum, the French Prime Minister, in charge of the camp. And everybody was very, very happy. And the American, 5 days later, the American didn't show up, but the SS showed up. Came in a lot of SS with machine gun and told every prisoner to get outside from the buildings, and they line us up, maybe 2,000, maybe less, but close to 2,000, and they marched us out from Buchenwald on a death march. And we started to march out. Okay, stop it. We came out from Buchenwald, outside Buchenwald, and there was 80 SS with officers, and they had 3 wagons with 6 horses, and one woman was sitting in the front with the officer, and we was marching. The first 5 days, we got a piece of bread and some wurst, and after that, we was marching, and we didn't get no food at all, and every day, I noticed less people that died or they shoot them if they didn't want to walk. And finally, after 3 weeks walking, we wind up in our farm, some close to Mallersdorf. Okay, we stop it. Well, we came to the farm, and there was a big barn, and they opened the barn and told all the prisoners to go in the barn. But I noticed there was not too many prisoners left. There was maybe 200 or 210 prisoners left from the 1,600. And I was very weak, and I couldn't walk too much. I was the last person to go in the barn, so I was close to by the opening. They closed the door, and it was very cold, and I was shaking, and I felt like that I'm not going to make it, but the next day. Then about a few hours later, they opened the barn, and they said that the woman who turned out to be Schmalz, or her name, that she cooked some potatoes for us, and we should line up and get our potatoes. I got 4 potatoes, and the SS said we should thank him. So I said, thank you very much for the potatoes, and I put 2 potatoes in one pocket and 2 potatoes in the other pocket, but I couldn't eat nothing. So since I was the first to get out from the barn, I was the first to go in. But this time, I was crawling. There was hay down there in the barn. I crawled way back of the barn, and I went deeper and deeper in the hay, close by the wall, and I fell asleep. And I had a dream or a vision. I don't know what it was. That I was at home, and my mother came and cleaned me up and made me something to eat, and put me in a warm bed. My mother died when I was 2 years old, so I never knew my mother, but now I saw my mother, how she looked, and she put me in the bed, and then later that night I heard explosion, shooting, and then the SS started hollering, "Raus!" Everybody raus! And I told my mother, they're calling me, and my mother says, don't pay attention, just go to sleep and stay in bed. So I listened to my mother, and I was staying in my bed because it was not a bed, I was in the hay, and I fell asleep good. Then next day, afternoon, finally I woke up, and I came out from the hay, and then a man approached me. Then turned out later there was Zygmunt, and he started asking me question, who I am, what nationality I am, and this and this. Then he started telling me that there's 6 or 7 prisoners inside by the farmer, and she's feeding them with food and hot something to drink, and he told me I should go out and get the food too and bring it to him in the barn. And I said, no, I'm not going. We started arguing. He told me, go out, and I said, I'm not going. So he said, well, he's very hungry. I said, well, I still have my 4 potatoes. I didn't eat it. I gave it to him but in the meantime, we were talking to each other. A policeman came in with a machine gun. It turned out it was Mauer, and he told us, keep your hands up and come out. So we came out, and now we were more prisoners, and then came another policeman. He turned out to be Joseph Kimberlin, and then they start marching us. We were, I don't know, 10 or 12 or 11 prisoners. Then they got 2 more prisoners outside on the road, and we was 30 now, and we went now to march us to Malersdorf, but we couldn't make it. I couldn't walk, so Kimberlin, he felt sorry for me. He had a bike. He put me on the bike, and he pushed me, but we couldn't make it too far. Then we stopped, and then one of the policemen went to Malersdorf for something about us. I don't know what it was, why he went there. I didn't know. After the war, I found out that he wanted to leave us in Malersdorf, but they told him they don't want us. So we went back, and we wind up in a city of Neufahren, in a prison. But to me, it didn't look. I didn't know it's a prison. To me, it looked like a big building, and we were there very weak. And there was 2 bunks. They put me one in a bunk. The rest of them slept on the floor. And they gave us some food. And there was Friday night, and then Saturday afternoon. But afternoon, they brought a wagon with 2 oxes. They put us all in the wagon because we couldn't walk. And the driver was a French guy. He was a prisoner too, but he worked on the farm. And he was telling us in German that the Americans are very close. By tomorrow, maybe the American army will be here. All right, we drove close to Ergoldsbach, and he wouldn't want to go further, so we had to dismount from the wagon, and they took us to another farm, and this farm turned out to be this nice lady, Genendel. And I was very weak. She felt really sorry for me. She took me and another prisoner in the house. The rest of them went to the barn, and she gave me some hot thing to drink and some food, and kept me till at night when it was time to go to sleep. So they put me in the barn. In the meantime, she made some kind of stew for everybody too that night. Then the policeman Mauer talked to her. She said to him, "What are you going to do with them?" And he said, "Tomorrow I will come and pick him up and take him to Landshut, let the SS do whatever they want with them. So she argued with him, and she said, no, why don't you, tomorrow is Sunday, why don't you wait till Monday? And they argue here and there. He said, okay, tomorrow is another day, and he left. And the next day, I hear some shooting, and then it stopped, and we was very scared to go out. Who's shooting that? But then I had the courage. I went out, and I came out and entered the road, and I saw 3 American tanks. And when I saw the 3 American tanks, and I started hollering, telling them for the American, I didn't know that a white star is American tanks. I thought it was Russian. I said, "Tovarish." He said, no Ruski, we Amerikansky. So he told me to lay down and don't stay straight because they're still shooting there, going on. So about 3-4 hours later, more American soldiers came and more trucks and Red Cross ambulance, and they picked us up and it took us to this hospital where you call it a Krankenhaus. There was nuns there, and the nuns took my clothes off, put me in a bathtub with nice warm water, washed me up like a little baby, and put me in a nice bed. And then came a doctor, and then the American soldiers told him, you better take care of us. And the doctor took care of it. He gave us some shots, and put me in a nice bed, the nuns, and I was there for 3 months. The nuns were very, very nice. They treated me like I was the little baby. They took care of me, everything. And finally, after 3 months, I recovered. Then the city of Ergosbach put us in a building where they put 2 nuns, where the nuns, they really was take care of. After 3 months I was in the Krankenhaus. Now it was another 3-4 months or 6 months to take convalescent home. And then we were all naked and we had nothing. And the people of Ergosbach was very, very nice to us. They gave us clothes, and they took care of it. They gave us every month some money to have. And okay, stop again. Now after they recovered, they gave us, the people of Ergosbach, the city hall, all of them, very, very good to us, very nice. They gave us a place to live. I lived for a while with Zygmunt, and later I was living for myself with a family. And the people was very, very nice. They had a dance or a movie or a theater. They was all the time invited us. And I wanted to thank special 2 ladies. These 2 ladies, they had a butcher shop. I don't remember the name. And they had a very high-class restaurant. And I was eating dinner with them every day, and they made me very nice dinners. Even everybody had a ration card, but she all the time prepared good, very nice Wiener Schnitzel or others, very nice every day. And to be sure that I have enough food, they would give me extra ration card for me. They was all the time worried about me. So I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. They was very, very nice for me. And let's see, and then there was another people I want to thank. These people had a guest house too, but not on the main street, on a side, in a little hill. And they had a beautiful daughter, and one of my friend Henry, they fell in love. I don't know what happened, if they got married or nothing. But these people, the parents, were very, very nice to us, to all. They gave us a place in the guest house where we could play billiard, play cards, or have a meeting. and any time she had, it was a holiday, she made Schweinebratel and Bayerische Knädel. She invited me all the time. Very, very nice. And they had a little boy they raised. The boy lost their parents. He was a relative of them. A very nice little 9-year-old boy there was that time. Very polite boy. And when I came, okay, stop. Then, when I was in Egglesbach from 1945, 46, then, but springtime 47, I had a motorcycle, and I hear that some people came from the east, some Jews, and they sell it in Regensburg. So I had decided maybe I should take a ride, take my motorcycle and take a trip to Regensburg, see maybe I could find some people that I know. So when I was going to Regensburg, when I was very close to Regensburg, on the highway, the MP had a roadblock, and they checked everybody's paper. And when I stopped with my motorcycle, and I showed them my papers, they noticed that I'm not a German. I'm a Czech citizen. So he didn't know what to do with me. So he called the captain, and showed that I'm not a German, and what I'm doing in Egglesbach. in Regensburg. So the captain talked to me and he said, well, how come you're in Germany and all that? I told him the whole story. And he said, well, you don't want to stay in Germany. Why don't you go to Palestine or to America or to Canada? You don't want to stay here. So I said, well, it's not so easy to go in any place. Not to Palestine, not to America. So he said, well, I know a lady, and she works for an organization, and the organization that Eleanor Roosevelt created, and she said, they pick up young people under 18 years old, and they find homes for them in different countries. And if you want to go to America, she will try to find a sponsor that you could go to the United States too. So he gave me a letter, the address where to go, and it was Prinam Kimsey, and if I should listen to him and go take the letter and go to and give it to the English woman he knows, and she will take care of me. So I came back. I didn't tell no one about it, and I was thinking. I decided 2 weeks later, maybe I should go. So I packed myself all the stuff, my things what I had, and I told the lady where I was living that I'm going away for a trip, and I didn't tell no one where I'm going, not Zygmunt, no one. And I went to the railway station, and I asked him how to go to Prinam Kimsey, and they told me the direction, how to go to Munich, to Rosenheim, so and so, and I took the train. I bought a ticket, and I went up in Prinam Kimsey about beginning of the summer of 1947. There I was there. I had to go a little school. I had to learn a little. They had tool making, electrician, anything. I had to do some schooling there. And then when I had time, I would go to on the lake and see the castle there, Ludwig's castle. And after about 6 months there, they got a sponsor for me, and they took me to all the who they supposed to go to America, to Munich, and the rest of them, the consul took care of the visa. But I needed a piece of paper, and so I decided to go to Egglesbach that day to get the paper. So I came to Egglesbach. I went to the city hall. I told the mayor I need that paper. The mayor was very nice. He told me, "Oh, you don't want to go to America. Why don't you stay in Egglesbach? You're a nice boy." I said, no, thank you. That's very, very nice of you. I said, I appreciate it, but I'm going to America. And then I had to sleep someplace over, so I went to this lady who used to make me Schweinebratel with bayerische Knädel, and she gave me a place to sleep over. She gave me dinner, and she gave me breakfast, and I thanked her, and I went back to Munich. Then about middle of December 1947, they took us on the train to Bremerhaven, and then I had to wait for a ship 2 weeks, and after that I came to New York. To New York, okay. Then I came to New York. In New York, they took me, in different show how New York is with the train there and all that. So after 2 weeks, they showed us movies for all the young girls and the young men like me too. They said we cannot stay in New York. It's too crowded there. There's no place to we could live. We have to go to different places in the United States. They showed me different Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh. They showed Cleveland, Ohio. I chose Cleveland, Ohio, and then there was from the Jewish family took over, and they assigned a lady to take care of us. There was a few dozen of us, and we wanted to go to Cleveland, Ohio, and they took us to Cleveland, Ohio, and they put us in a Jewish orphan home outside Cleveland. There was maybe 20 miles outside Cleveland, and there was beautiful there, and I liked United States. Looked to me like a different planet, a different world. I thought I'm in heaven. United States looks so nice. So then after I turned over 18, I went to school a little for 6 months. Then they found something, a job for me, and I became an American. Then I met a beautiful girl, and I fell in love. And she was young, 16 years old. I was not ready to get married, and we know each other for 3 years almost. Then we got married, and after 4 months married, I got drafted to the army because there was the Korean War. And after I got my basic training, then I got 8 months different training for military intelligence, and they sent me back to New York, and I took a boat, and I came back to Germany. And Germany, they assigned me in Hanau, Germany, in Funkkaserne, and there I was there for 13 months. And after that, my time was up. They wanted I should stay in the army, but I didn't want to stay. I want to go home. And then I stood 10 years in the reserve, and then, okay, so then a year later, my son was born, and then 3 years later, my daughter was born, and my son became a doctor, and my daughter educated. She got a big position, and my son had 3 children, two daughters and a son. The son and the daughter is twins, and my older daughter, she graduated now from Cornell, and she's going to go to medical school too. And my daughter's daughter, she's married. She finished college too. She has a child. Now I have a great-granddaughter, and I have a grandson who finished college too, and he's working in finance. In finance, okay. And now I wanted to thank all of you, Ergosbach, I love you. You were very nice to me, and I cannot say too much how much I thank you. And God bless you. And that's all.